I just saw a new indie film called Deadland and I want to talk about it with you guys, so let's get into it. So Deadland primarily covers the story of 3 different Border Patrol agents after dealing with a very traumatic event where an immigrant is killed in front of them and they cover it up. And it is a real interesting premise of the treatment of immigrants that are trying to cross the border from Mexico to the United States, that trauma, and looking a little bit deeper as to the ethics of these Border Patrol agents on the United States. So this movie kind of progresses in a real generic fashion, I thought, where it is at first this cover-up story, and then it starts to get a little bit more complex with these hauntings, and that was the part that I really liked the most about Deadland. There is a real sense of foreboding within this movie that was utilized really effectively, I thought. There's these hauntings from this dead immigrant, and you don't know whether it is a genuine haunting, as in a ghost, or this is a representation of the trauma that these Border Patrol agents are facing. There's all these mysteries surrounding this movie as it progresses, and those were the moments that I thought were quite effective. I think when it really focused in on those moments, I think that this is where this movie shined really well. The movie also looks really, really good, and I just love that it adds a layer of authenticity to the film, and I think it really works for the style of movie that the director is going for, and communicating the grittiness of the situation and what is really going on under the surface. The performances I thought were also all really solid. There was no real weak link. They weren't anything incredible, but they did their job and they were effective within the film for the most part. And I think when it is really relying on them to deliver a little bit more in the third act, I do think they come across nicely and give this a decent enough finality to the movie. However, I have major issues with the writing of this film because of the way that it branches off in so many different directions. It follows just way too many characters to the point where the messaging comes across really muddled and confused at points. It doesn't feel like it has any urgency to it. It feels a little bit aimless at points. And that just weighed this down a lot for me because you just can't really connect with anything the way that you want. The protagonist seems compelling enough, and some of these side characters seem compelling enough, but because none of them are really given any true commitment within the writing, you just don't really care about them all that much. And also, there are some revelations in the third act that I just thought were really, really stupid. There is a twist within this movie, which I won't spoil, but it was just laughable. I just didn't think it was all that great. It was filled with so many cliches that it just ends up just unwinding in a really awful way. As I said, sure, it has that finality to it at the very end that was fine enough, but the events that kind of lead to that were just so unsatisfying that I just couldn't really take any of this messaging as seriously as it wants me to take it, because it kind of feels like it's having a laugh in those moments with such a terribly poorly conceived twist. Unfortunately, Deadland, while it has some interesting concepts, some solid performances, some moments of real potential, it does falter because of a lackluster screenplay and just too many ideas within such a short runtime that just gives this an aura of being really forgettable. I just don't really see how I'm going to be thinking about this one a week from now. It just doesn't do all that much for me. As a score, I'm going to give Deadland a 2.5 out of 5. I just think this thing is mediocre all over. And unfortunately, that is a shame because you can see moments of potential where it could be a lot better than that. But it just doesn't do that, I'm afraid. And those are my thoughts towards Deadland. Let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below if you've seen it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.